you can hear me. If you can't, you let me know. But I like to make my sessions somewhat of a conversation with you, a dialogue. So we're going to talk back and forth. So if you can get the main message, I don't want to stand here like the pastor of the church and preach to you. I really want you to hear what I have to say and learn from it. Now, my understanding is that you have a packet of information with you. So we're going to go through a little bit of this packet. I'm not sure what all you have in the packet, but you should have the handouts for this presentation. So there's a number of slides. And you should also have the FAFSA on the web worksheet that we will take a look at. You might want to take a few notes. For some of you, can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you go ahead and turn it? On the inside. Like, what is this? For some of you, this is a new adventure. How many of you have children who are in college or went through college? So a few. Okay. Life can change. Leave it to the federal government. Life will change. Guaranteed. I've been in the financial aid industry, for a little while. And at four-year schools in the Midwest, as well as the community college. And they're all different, but the federal rules apply to all, and you're going to learn a little bit about what happens. Now, for some of you, since this is a new adventure, I like to think of the college journey as a couple of kayakers going down a river. Now, picture this with me. You're in your kayak, you're going down the river, and you see all kinds of great things from the view from the boat. You see cities that you're passing by with colleges in them. You see little villages, communities. You hear noise of cheering from football teams and basketball teams, and you think, rah, 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 let's go. Let's stop over there. And you see people along the side, and they're saying, come on over, come on over. And so you pull your boat over to that side. You get out and you visit, and you have a fantastic time. You taste the food, you smell the adventure that's there. And then you get back in the boat and you go down the river a little bit further. And you see another community with a college, and you get out of the boat and you visit that community. And you enjoy that. And you go through about 4 or 5 others, and then you get back in the boat. And you decide, too much information. I don't know what to do. Does that ever happen to you? Too much information. But as a kayaker, one of the things that you have to be, if you are very skilled, is that you have to know that river very well and understand the sights and the sounds of the river. Because sometimes rivers will lead you to a rapids. And you can go down that rapids, and you don't want to go down the rapids. And the rapids in my little story is when your pocketbook starts to drain really very quickly. So you need resources while you're on that river. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to stay focused because there's so many schools here in the country, and even as well as overseas, there's so many opportunities. But you need to stay focused. In fact, this year, I've decided I would not do a New Year's resolution. I'm doing it in one word, and that's stay focused. I'm a very good multitasker, but what I'm beginning to find is that I can't do it all. So I have to stay focused. And I want you to stay focused because all of those opportunities are going to look very, very good. And I'm not going to try to spend my time convincing you that they aren't, because they are. They really are. And there's so many opportunities. But you need to know where you're going and what your end goal is so you don't fall down the rapids and drown. Because once you hit the rapids, you can't get back upstream. You got it? Now, one of the things that I want you to know is that you can ask questions while I'm talking, but financial aid, this part of the journey, is like learning a new language. There's so many acronyms, and those of us in the financial aid community, we speak in acronym language. It's crazy. Only we know what we're talking about. And you have to figure it out. And sometimes we forget about that, and we start to speak financial lingo to you, and it just doesn't work. So we're going to talk a little bit about some things that will help you learn this new language so that you will have the opportunity to know what you're doing when you're speaking with the college of your choice, or your Sunday Morning's choice. And you'll be safe when you go through that, okay? So tonight we're going to learn a little bit about how to navigate the rapids. Now, I hope you can see this. I hope I'm not in your way, in your vision. But we're going to talk about a few little topics. What is financial aid? And here's another. This is what we call the financial aid language. We call it COA, cost of attendance. So you may call my office and I'll say, well, your COA is, so you know that. EFC is expected family contribution. We'll talk a little bit about the types of financial aid. We're going to go very quickly through many of these because you're going to hear it again. This may not be your first presentation that you sat through. So we're going to help you understand how to do follow-up. Students who are here, please remember that you're starting the journey. It doesn't end with the application. You have to follow up. You have to follow up. You have to follow up. So remember that. What is financial aid? Can anyone tell me what it is? Someone knows?
Help with the cost of education.
Help with the cost of education. Very good. And were you going to share something different? Oh, that gets very specific. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Very good for both of you. So, that's not a fire alarm. But anyway, funds provided for students and families to help with the post-secondary education expenses. So that's the main thing, is funds to help. In other words, the language we used to use is to assist. It's not intended to pay all of the students' way. It's just to assist family in paying for the students' education. Okay, here's that COA, cost of attendance. That's a part of the new language. What is the cost of attendance include? Every school uses a cost of attendance. They have what's called a budget. And in that budget, there's the tuition and the fees, the room and board, and then there's books and supplies, transportation, miscellaneous expenses. What are miscellaneous expenses? Anybody have an idea?
Clothing, shoes.
That's right, clothing, shoes, entertainment, yeah. Yeah, food. And that can get quite expensive if you use student loans. So, those types of things. You will be amazed, parents, how your water bill will go down and how your food bill will decrease for a little while anyway. So it's amazing. So the cost of attendance is built, and we'll show you later what will happen to the cost of attendance at various schools. Then your next new language term is EFC, the estimated family or expected family contribution. And basically, when you're completing the free application for federal student aid, that's all it is. I want to say that again, that's all it is. It's an application. It is not money, it is an application. When you're completing that, you're providing information about your income, your assets, the number of people in college, and they take their figure, determine how much you can expect to set aside for your child's education. Now, some of us have ridiculous EFCs. I'm thinking, for my own children, really? Okay. But the formula is just there to make the system equitable for all people. So it's an EFC. Okay. You can do that on my computer. But anyway, financial need. Every student who calls me says, well, I'm financially needy. Yes, we all are. We all think we do not have enough. So that's probably why we apply for financial aid and everything else. So the schools take the cost of attendance minus the EFC that the FAFSA has determined is your EFC, expected family contribution, and they come up with a financial need. All that means is this is the amount that the school can offer the family or the student, really it's the student, to attend college. Let's show you how that breaks down very quickly. Okay, let's say that you decide to go to a 4-year private school. Who can give me the name of the school that has about 42,000, 50,000? Pardon me? Right. Yeah. So, let's say that your family is determined that you can provide about $12,000. That means at that school, your financial need would be about $30,000. Well, how do you meet that $30,000? But let's say the student decides to go to a 4-year public school and the cost is a little less, $22,000. That would be our state schools in the market. And the EFC is still 12, and the financial need goes down. You also have the public 2-year schools, which would be the community colleges. And their cost may be something like around $16,000 or a little bit less. And you have to remember with the community college, most community colleges do not have residence halls. There are some that do. And their cost is going to be a lot cheaper, so you're just paying tuition and fees. And so you see the need is a lot less for financial aid. Any questions about that? So as you start to compare financial aid packages, keep in mind that you need to compare apples with apples, not apples with oranges. So, you've already mentioned types of financial aid. You've got gift aid, and you also have self-help aid. Gift aid is scholarships and grants. Everyone wants a scholarship. Everyone wants a scholarship. Everyone wants a grant. Then there's employment and student loans. What's the difference? Anybody have an idea?
They have to pay back one. Self-help, they have to pay back. Gift.
The gift is a gift, right? It's self-help. The loans you have to pay back. That's
Plus
exactly
interest.
it.
If you don't understand that, you end up on people's court.
Okay.
People never know loan versus trust.
You know, that's true. I happened to, during our days off, because of the snow, I happened to watch Judge Judy's hilarious show with him, but and you're right, people don't understand. It's a loan and a gift. Right. Okay, and this just basically explains it. Money that you do not have to pay back. It's granted to you. Now, remember the FAFSA is just an application. It is not the grant. And I'll talk more specifically about what grants are. Then there's scholarship money. The scholarship money does not have to be paid back. It may be based on merit, skill, or some type of unique characteristic. I always liked the one when I was in the Midwest. There was a family that offered a very large scholarship for students who had a unique characteristic, one blue eye, one brown eye. Now, you know that's a family trait. So you know that there's not that many people that have one blue eye and one brown eye. Now, I remember dating the guy whose eyes turned from green to brown. you know, that sort of thing. And I don't know what that was all about, but anyway, nevertheless. But you have proof that you have one blue eye and one brown eye. That's, you don't let you guys walk around and get to see and find people like that.
They were in.
Yeah. But anyway, then there is the student employment. Parents are always nervous about student employment, but one of the things that you have to remember, when a student works on campus, they have a lot of time on their hands. It's not like high school. There's a lot of time on their hands. So why not work and reduce some of the cost? They're not going to be studying all the time that you think they're going to be studying. I've been at enough four-year institutions to know what they do in that time they're not in session. You would be surprised. Okay, so employment is a good thing. You know, I had a student today come to the front counter of our office, and she has a bachelor's degree in art. And she's here. She graduated from the University of Maryland, and she's here now. She wants to change to architecture. And I said, okay, sounds good. She said, but you know my problem? Is I can't get a job or an internship in that area. Well, she went all the way through art, 4 or 5 years of school, and I was a former artist too, and my mother swore that I would never be. Now I can't draw a stick figure, but anyway, I'm an artist wannabe. But you need some type of employment experience. You can have the ticket of a bachelor's degree, but if you have no employment experience, you know, the first job you're going to get, they're going to train you anyway, right? They're going to train you, unless there's something very, very specific that you need to know. They're going to train you. So parents, please don't be afraid of them working. Loans. This is my area of specialty, and I'm not really sure why it's become that. One student asked me, am I anti-loan? No, but I just try to teach my students you need to know what you're doing when you take out these loans. This is money that you borrow or the parent borrows in order to help you pay for school. That means that at some point, that loan does not become a scholarship. In fact, it never becomes a scholarship. And you do have to pay it back. I had a person stop by the office 2 days ago who said that he wanted to have his loans discharged. And I said, okay, tell me a little bit more. He wasn't one of our students, but he said, I'm totally and permanently disabled. Now he walked into the office and he's standing there in the hallway and he says, I'm totally and permanently disabled. I said, okay. Then you need some type of doctor's proof that you're totally and permanently disabled. That means you cannot come back to school and you cannot get a job if you're really totally and permanently disabled. He says, what do you mean? So, in other words, it's very difficult to get rid of the loans. So you do have to pay them back, yes.
Go back to employment.
Yes, sure.
If a student maybe in college doesn't think that maybe they have enough money, will they still get their employment on campus, or can they try to do that for
The student employment, which is called work study, federal work study, goes to the students who have financial need. Usually a college has two types of student employment programs. They have the federal work study program, but they also have another program where a student can go into an office or somewhere on campus or even off campus and get a job, but that employer is responsible for paying the student. Some schools do a little bit better job than others, and in this tight economy, you'll see a lot of employers who want that federal work study because then they only have to pay something like 30% of the paycheck to the student, and the government pays the other 70%. So that's usually the difference in the federal work study. So if the school is very small, they may not have as many positions available. But if the school is a large school, they will have a number of opportunities for the student to work. There are no benefits in those work study programs Yes,
Do you have to be approved for the WEC state program
you do,
based on need?
based on financial need, correct, because it is a financial aid program. So it's all part of the financial aid program, so it has to fit in that need category that I mentioned earlier. Very good questions. Okay, so, what are your resources? All of this sounds good so far. Where is that money coming from? Well, 98% of it comes from the federal government, and there's a portion that comes from the state government. How about the school itself? One of my biggest problems is trying to get students who are so internet savvy to look at the website of the school that you're thinking about going to. Look at their financial aid page and see if you can figure out what scholarships are available so you can apply for them on time. On time. And then there are private sources of funding, which are here in our community. I was very surprised when I moved here to Montgomery County and found the number of scholarships that are available. Do you have scholarship night?
We don't have a specific scholarship night, but there's a whole listing of scholarships on the Watkinsville Career Center page. There's a listing of local and national scholarships, and then there's also a web-based section too. So never pay for a scholarship search, because I have like 10 pages of scholarships, and they're all free. So never pay for a search. Just use one of those.
Thank you for mentioning that. Never pay for a search. So if you decide that someone's convinced you that you need to pay for a search, you can do it yourself. You can do it yourself. Come to the high school and get the information. It is out there. It's available to you. Okay. So the government is the largest source for financial aid. Here's the kicker. You do have to complete an application. I mentioned that application earlier. It's called Free Application for Federal Student Aid. We commonly call it FAFSA. Oh, another one of those new words. So say it with me, FAFSA. FAFSA. It's not FAFSA, it's FAFSA. Yeah, it's a hard one, I know. But all it is a free application. It is not the grant. Now, for those of you who are in high school here, I'm assuming that you're graduating. Yay! So that means in the fall, you will be somewhere, and you need to apply for financial aid. So when you apply for financial aid, you will complete the 14-15 school year application. 2014, That's very important because 2 applications are out there online right now, the 13-14 and the 14-15. So you need to make sure that you are the correct one when you're getting ready to complete your FAFSA. That's really, really very, very important. One of the things I find is that students are so trigger happy and they click very fast. You click, and you click the wrong thing, and then you got to go back and do it again. Take your time, read. That's a national problem. Take your time, read. You have to do the FAFSA every year. Every year. You pay taxes every year, right? Your life changes every year. You do not do resolutions every year, but you have to do that FAFSA every year. And you have to do it on time. The FAFSA is now open so that you can use it for the 14-15 school year as of January 1. Here, I will tell you one little caution. If you're getting ready to do the FAFSA, for those of you who are parents, the federal taxes will not be received by the IRS until the end of the month, January 31st. The tax information has to be uploaded onto the FAFSA application. They will not be ready to upload that information until February the 2nd. So that's very important. I would suggest you do the FAFSA, do the taxes, wait 2 to 2.5 weeks. But don't wait too long. And then go back and upload the taxes. Okay? That's going to be very, very important because you've got to do this correctly so that it's not rejected. Now, many of our four-year schools have some quick deadlines. I think University of Maryland's deadline is the 15th of February. Right, they want everything by the 15th of February. You need to honor those deadlines. I guess I might as well just say it right now. What you can do is do an estimated tax form. In other words, you can go into the FAFSA and put in estimated information based on your previous year's income. But then that means you've got to go back, once those taxes are done, and change that information and upload it. It's called an IRS data retrieval. So you have to go back and make it right. Okay? Yes?
Like when you say I live in, I don't have to do I have to prepare my taxes by that date? Or
I would suggest you prepare those taxes as quickly as you can get them done. So you're going to get your W-2s by the end of the month. And then you should get your taxes done and submit them to the IRS because they are now the ones that are going to be uploading the information into the FAFSA. You're going to do it through them. The reason for that big change is because of fraud. When you have people walk into your financial aid office and say, I've prepared 3 different tax forms, which one of them would you like? So that's not fair to anyone else. So you have to do it. For those of you who have businesses, I know that sometimes there's a delay in your tax preparation. Do the estimated taxes and then go back and update the information.
There's actually an option, when you, on the parent section, it says, have you done your 2013 tax return? And you can say, no, but I will. And then you have your 2012 tax return sitting there, and you enter all that information, submit it so you meet your deadline. Then you can go back and make a correction, and then you change that question to, yes, I have done my 2013 taxes. Then you click on the IRS retrieval tool, and it will automatically populate with your tax information that you submitted to the IRS. That way you meet all your deadlines. It's more important to meet the deadlines with estimated numbers than to miss the deadline to have it correct numbers.
And you also
meet
want-
the deadlines.
You also want to make sure that you wait 2 to 3 weeks after you've submitted your taxes to the IRS because they will not have it available in that retrieval system. Now, later on in the month, there is a FAFSA workshop.
February 9th.
Yeah, College Goes Sunday.
Yeah. You all should try to go to this if you can.
Yes, and this is when we actually sit down with you and work through that FAFSA. There's 2 of them. There's actually one on.
Yeah, and on the backside of the one, unfortunately, the one on the backside of the 27th is on a Thursday from 4 to 6. So you might find the Sundays is easier, whichever one works for you.
There are people there that are financial aid experts, and they will sit down with you and walk you through how to get that done. And that's on the Tacoma Park campus.
If I do my taxes electronically, say I do it within the next week or two, and most of the colleges have it February 15th, when I submit that, usually within, you can check periodically to see if it's been accepted. As soon as it says it's been accepted, does that mean I can go and
After
plug
February 2nd.
everything into my FAFSA?
It's really very simple. Yes, all you have to do is go out, there's a tab, and we don't have a demonstration of that tab. And it says for you to check the IRS button. And you put in the information exactly like you typed your tax address and so on, all capital letters, whatever you use. You press the button submit, and the IRS retrieval system will upload it and project it right into your FAFSA. But it does take them about 2 weeks.
So you're waiting for that acceptance, that basically the email from the IRS saying, we got it, it's been accepted, and you go.
The confusion is, most people will not get paid up to Tuesday, so the last day of January. If you only have until the 15th of February to get that right, let's say you did it that night, if you manage to do that, get them submitted, you don't have 3 weeks until the 15th of February.
One of the things you do have to remember, schools will accept that FAFSA anytime during the year. Some schools, like the University of Maryland, College Park, they have that deadline, but it is not a hard and fast deadline, and we can't make it a hard and fast deadline. It is what
That's the
we call
priority
priority deadline.
You do want to hit that deadline. But
Right.
since the IRS is so late this year, what I would recommend for you all is to do the estimated to meet the deadline. And then you can go back and put in the correct info.
I understand, I was understanding that you had to have a correction by the 15th.
No, you don't have to
You don't have to
know.
have
No, you can have your estimated FAFSA done by the deadline. That is perfectly okay. Yes, and then you want to get your taxes done as soon as you can and then upload the corrected. But it doesn't have, your correction doesn't have to be in there by February 15th now.
The school probably won't process it by the 15th of February anyway, so. Okay, who's eligible for the FAFSA? On your slides, you have this eligibility requirement. You have to be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen, have a valid social security number. Young men, please, we'll make sure that you have registered for selective service. And you have to have a high school diploma or a GED, yes.
Excuse me, who is the eligible non-citizen?
An eligible non-citizen, people who have green cards? Yes.
I have a question. When my son graduates, he won't be 18. How can he can't apply for selective services until he's 18. What does he do?
Is he 17? He will be 18
He won't be 18 until next December.
to the next December. I think that there is a statement there that allows you to, an option on the FAFSA that will allow you to apply through the FAFSA for selective service.
There is. You do it right through the FAFSA. There's a question that says, if you're a male and you're 18, do you want to register for the selective service? Just say yes.
Right, but when I tried it, I went through the application and I put his information in the way it was. With his date of birth, it kicked it back because he was 17. He was 16 and he just turned 17.
Okay. I think you have to be within 6 months of your 18th
Right, I
birthday,
believe
so maybe
that.
that's why.
Yeah, 6 months.
You just have to go back and go to sss.gov. You do that within 6 months of his 18th birthday. That is definitely something you want to do because you can't get federal
Right,
funds. Yeah. Without.
And the school will, FAFSA will go through, but you will have to provide documentation showing that. So you will get a card. Most of the males have cards in the wallet. Okay.